Hi crafters, it's Chloe from Chloe's Creative Cards, and today I've got a lovely project to show you using our Christmas Magnolia stamp and die set. So let me pop the camera in and we can have a little look at this lovely project here. So this is what we are going to be making today. So as always, I have listed all of the products that we are using in the description below. So please do have a little look in there. We're going to be using our Christmas Magnolia stamp and die set. We're going to be using our new Christmas Florals and Foliage printed paper pad. We're going to use one of our gorgeous 8x8 embossing folders, and we're going to use our Festive foiled acetate as well to create this beautiful foliage design in the background, which really does finish that project off. So I'll pop the overhead camera in and we'll get started on this project. So we're going to start off by building up our mats and layers. So let me pop my card to one side and I will grab in the little bits and pieces that we need to complete this project. So I'm going to start off, I've got an 8x8 card blank and I've got some gold mirror card here which I've trimmed down to around about 7 3/4 inches square. Okay, I'm going to just get my glue going here. I do apologise, it's been sat in my car because I was down at Hobbycraft TV this week. Well, it might be last week actually by the time this video goes out. But anyway, my glue's been sat in the car overnight and it's been a little bit cold. So I might just take a moment to warm up. Okay, so we're going to stick that gold mirror card down onto our card blank. And this is why I always use wet glue, because sometimes I don't get it down quite in the right place first time, and with wet glue you've got that opportunity, you've got a bit of wiggle room to move it. So we've got that layer stuck down first. We've then taken a piece of our Jupiter pearl card which we've cut down to around about 7 1/2 inches square. I'm going to take a couple of sheets of scrap paper now and we're going to use a chisel tip glue pen. So we're going to do a little bit of edging, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. So we're going to use our Santa Suit Sparkelicious glitter and we're going to edge it in a little bit of red, which is fabulous. So we've got our chisel tip glue pen. I'm just going to give that a couple of presses just to get some glue to the edge of the tip. And then we're going to take our pen and run it along the edge of the card at a 45-degree angle, like this. Okay. And then we'll dunk that. I've just got my glitter on some scrap paper just over here. We'll dunk that into the glitter and hopefully you can see how we've got that little glittery edge just going around the base of our card like this. Hold that up, there we go. You can see the sparkle that we've got on there. So I'm going to pop my glitter back into the jar and then I'm going to take this and stick this down onto my card blank. Now it's up to you, you can either stick it down flat or you can pop it on foam pads. I'm going to stick this one down flat because I've got another couple of layers which I'm going to do on some foam pads. So just a little bit of glue onto the back of here, like that, and then we'll just position that down onto our base card and stick that into place. Okay, then next up I've got one of our lovely patterned papers and this is the poinsettia design, and I've just got some foam pads on the back of here. And we'll just peel the back off of those. Again, those are our finger lift foam pads, which are fabulous. I'm going to just shuffle my bin in. Sorry if you can hear me moving about in the background there, so I can keep throwing the backs into there. So then we're going to stick that little mat down onto our card. I've then got another piece of gold mirror card, which we're going to pop on the top. That can go down here. Now of course you can gut your mats and layers if you want to as well. And then next up we're going to do a little bit of embossing. So I've got my lovely piece. This is our crystal white pearl card that I've just cut down and we've cut it into a little square, and I'm going to try and line this up so it's relatively straight in my embossing folder, and then we're going to send this through our Gemini machine. So I'm going to use my 2 clear or 2 white plates, depending on which machine you've got. I'm going to send that through. So this is just a standard 2D embossing folder. But again, please do read up about your machine and kind of find out which one you need to use. So we'll lift that out. We'll take this away. Okay, and then we've got our lovely embossed background. So this is our star background design. So I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to pop some foam pads on the back of here. And then we're going to stick this down onto our base card. So again, I'll just peel the backs off of those foam pads. I'm just doing that over the bin just to keep it all nice and tidy. And then we'll grab in our base card and we'll stick this down just into the centre. So you can see we've got those lovely mats and layers all built up. So I'm going to do my little sentiment next to go in the corner. So I've got a piece of our crystal white pearl card here, and I'm going to use a little anti-static bag along with my Wow Clear embossing ink pad. So we're going to give our card a good dust over with that little anti-static bag. Okay, and then we're going to take our clear embossing ink pad and we're going to ink up the stamp. So you want lots of light tapping all over the image to ink up your stamp, and I believe this is our Spirit of Christmas verse that we're using. So we're going to stamp that down onto here and lift that off. And then we're going to take some of our polished gold, super fine embossing powder. Sprinkle that over the top, give it a little shimmy and a shake. Tap away any excess. You can see I've got a bit of ink on there. This is obviously from something previous. So we can just dust that away. And then we're going to pop that back into our jar. Keep it nice and tidy as we go. And then we'll take our heat tool, which I've got here. Let me just unwrap the wire. There we go. And we'll just heat this up. So just using that heat tool, hold it still. And then as soon as you see that embossing powder start to melt and change, you are just going to move the heat gun over the image. Like so. And this is a really nice fine text stamp. So you want to use like that ultra fine embossing powder, and you want to make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on the stamp as well when you stamp it. So I'm going to grab in my trimmer next, and we're just going to trim this down to size for our project. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. I just tend to do it by eye. A bit more off this side, I think. There we go. Get rid of any excess. Okay, and then we'll pop a couple of foam pads on the back of there. Now again, I'm making this quite a dimensional project, but if you're like, I want to post this, stick everything down flat. You can absolutely do that as well, and then that'll just mean that your card's a little bit flatter for posting. So if we grab back in our base card, we're going to stick our sentiment in the top corner, and now we're going to start to build up the floral elements. So we're going to be using our Christmas Magnolia stamp and die set, and I have got them already stamped out and glittered, so I'll show you how to do the stamping and the glittering, but I have already got some done so that they were all dry for this demo. So we're going to start off by taking the smaller Magnolia stamp. So I've got the, not that one, sorry, we're not going to take the smaller one, that's the wrong one. We're going to take the large one. So you are going to want to do 3 of the large, 3 of the medium and 3 of the small 5-petal Magnolia that's in your set, okay? So what we're then going to do is take, again, some of that lovely Jupiter red pearl paper. And this is like that true Christmas red pearl paper. It is absolutely perfect for creating like your poinsettias, or in this case, the Magnolia stamp as well. And this Magnolia stamp has been a really popular one for us. And I think the reason for that is we did actually release it with a Christmas collection a couple of years back, but it is beautiful to use all year round as well. If you stamp and emboss it onto vellum, it works perfectly. So we're going to stamp this down. Now you would need to stamp out 3 large, 3 medium, 3 small. I'm just going to do 1 to show you how to do this. So we've stamped that flower down, and then we're going to take that metallic, we're not going to use that one actually, we're going to use a different colour. We're going to use a Twinkling Lights embossing glitter. We're going to sprinkle that over and tap away the excess. Now, just to make you all aware as well, this is why mine's in a weird little sized jar. Twinkling Lights, wow, actually haven't got some of the glittery components that we normally would use in that colour. So going forward, there is a tiny, tiny variation in the colour of the glitter. But to be honest, compared to the original, it's not much at all. But it still looks absolutely stunning when it's embossed. So we're going to heat this up. Like so. So this is the newer version of Twinkling Lights that I'm using. So just if you come to reorder it, there will be a slight variation in the shade. Okay. So next up, I'm going to take my die and we're going to place this down over the top like so. So you want to just hover, get that into the right place. And then we're going to take a little bit of low tack tape and just tape this down into place like this. And then we're going to take our die cutting plates. So I'm going to use my base plate, my plastic shim, maybe throw them in. I might get away with it because it's quite a plain shape, so we'll just try this first. If not, we'll throw the metal shim in. And there we go. So we just send that through. I always feel like this part takes forever as well when you're waiting for it to come through to the other side. So we'll then grab this at the other side and open this out. Okay, and then we've got our perfectly die cut Magnolia. So what we're then going to do is take in our Dries Clear PVA glue again. Let me just get those little plates popped away there. So we're going to grab in our glue and we're going to take a little bit of Sparkelicious glitter. So I'm going to use Dulce de Leche. You could use salted caramel, maybe eggnog would work as well. You just want like a golden holographic kind of glitter for this. So what we're then going to do is just go in and add a few just little dots into the background like this. And then sprinkle over our glitter, and then you can see it just adds that extra little bit of sparkle onto your project. So I'm going to pop that to one side because I've got some that I've already done. So let me pop that glitter back into the jar and we'll put the lid on there, and then we'll grab in the ones that I've already got here. So we're going to use this. I'm just going to grab my glue gel. Let me just grab that from over here. I have to keep it near the heater because sometimes it gets quite cold in this room. So there we go. Right, so we've got our glue gel ready to go. So what we're going to do is start to shape these now. Now what I like to do is I like to take my scissors and just make sure that each little petal is cut to the middle, which on this die it actually is. On some of the smaller ones, sometimes we can't actually get that close, but I think these are all right actually. So what we're then going to do is take our little poinsettia and just, Magnolia, sorry, just give it a little pinch at the ends of the petals and lift these up just a little, like that. And then the same with this one here. Okay, and then we're going to start to layer these up. So we'll do the larger one first. So again, I'm going to take my pin flare glue gel, just a little bit on the back, and just start to layer these together. So we want to twist and rotate the little petals like that, and then a bit of glue gel on the back of there, and then we'll stick that down. And then within the die set, you also get these lovely stamen dies. If I can pick it up. Go. So you get these 3 different stamen dies. So what I've done is I've cut one of each size out from some gold mirror card, and then I've just gone in and just added little dots of PVA glue just onto the edges there and covered it in that Dulce glitter. So we'll then add a little bit of pin flare just onto the back of there, and a little bit of glue onto the back of the sparkler, and then stick that down there. And then you can see the lovely flower that you've created. So we're going to do the same with the next size. So again, just a little pinch and a pull like this. A bit of glue on the back, and just stick these down. Into there, and then we're going to take that little sparkly centre again, pull that all up, a little blob of glue gel just on the back, stick that down in the middle, and then stick the little sparkler in there as well. So you can see how lovely they are looking. And then I've got a medium-sized one as well. So we've got the large, the medium and the small. So we'll bring our base card back in, and we're going to stick these down now. So let me twist these petals a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we're going to take our glue gel. And again, it's handy if you can let the flowers dry, but obviously because we've just made these, they're not going to be quite dry yet. Let's give that a little shuffle up. And then we'll pop the medium one down about here. The small one. This is why I like to use the glue gel as well, because it gives you that little bit of time to kind of just manoeuvre things round and get them to where you want them to be. Happy with those there. So then we'll give them a little squish. Okay, and then next up, I'm going to pop that to one side. We're going to do a little bit of glittery acetate. So what we've done is take our fabulous Foliage foiled acetate, and to cut this out, it's really easy. So you don't need to stress too much about getting really close to the edges. Just take your scissors and really roughly follow the shape and just trim around the edge like this. It makes it dead simple this way. So you can just trim this around like that. And then you've got your little holly leaves ready to tuck in behind your flowers. But we can take these to the next level. So we're going to bling them up a little bit. So I'm going to take my PVA glue and I'm going to infill these little berries first of all, like this. And then we're going to take our Santa suit glitter. Okay, we'll sprinkle that over the top. I'm going to just use my little pin from my glue just to give it a little shuffle. There we go. Okay, so this is working on the back of the acetate as well. So we've got our red on there, and then we'll take a bit of green. So this is Mint Crisp that I'm using now. This is again one of our lovely Sparkelicious glitters. So then we'll go in again with our PVA glue. Like this. And just infill these holly leaves. that. Okay, and then we'll pick this up and we'll sprinkle over that green. Tap away any excess and you can see, well you can't at the moment, you can see the lovely PVA glue on there. But when this dries and your glue dries clear, it's almost like a stained glass effect. So then you'll get the glitter shining through. So we've taken some little holly sprigs and done that. Okay, so we've obviously done those ones in green and red. And then we've taken some of these like poinsettia leaves that are in there on the sheet as well. So again, flip those over, cover them with Dulce de Leche, let them dry. So I've got 3 of those. Taking 2 of the little swirls and roughly cut these out. And then what you're going to do is take your PVA glue and work on the front this time. Just follow the little dots on the design and then cover with your Dulce de Leche glitter. And then I've also taken 2 of the fully foiled leaves and cut those out as well. So what we're going to do is start to build up our little arrangement. So again, we're just going to use a little bit of glue gel to stick these down. So we'll take our 2 little glittery ones first. I'm going to stick these up the top here, like that. Okay. And then we'll take a bit of the acetate and I'm going to trim just a little bit off the bottom, just so then it doesn't sit quite as high. And we'll tuck that one in there. And then we're going to take a little bit of the holly leaf, trim that part away, and tuck the holly leaf in here. Another little holly leaf. We're going to take this one. We're going to pop a little bit of glue just on the back here. Tuck that into the side. Then I've got my little foiled leaves. So I'm going to tuck one of these up in this little gap here and one in this little gap here, like this. This is what I think is always a really fun part as well. And then that one in there. And pop that little swirl in there, and that would then be your finished card. So let me pop the other camera back in and then you can have a little look at how that has all come together. So you can see how that foliage makes such a difference to that project just by adding that into the background with that little bit of glitter, adding that bit of sparkle. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So that would then be your finished project. So of course, as always, all of the materials that we have used are listed in the little description below. So please do have a look, and you can shop all of the products that I've just used on our website at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk. I hope that you've enjoyed creating this project and it is maybe given you some inspiration for your Christmas cards. If, like me, you have hardly started them yet, but I really do need to make a start, so I will be doing that soon. But yes, hopefully that's given you some inspiration for your Christmas projects. I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye!